It's fall, and for many of us, that means it's breeding season. Join me as we take a look at strategies to improve the performance of next year's lamb crop and future generations by selecting and pairing the right rams and ewes.
Have you ever bought a big, beautiful, flashy ram at a show only to discover your flock has not made the genetic progress you had hoped? It's happened to me more times than I'd like to admit. Hi, I'm John Mazor with the Galena Homestead, where we use a blend of estimated breeding values, also known as EBVs, and phenotypic indexes to take the guesswork out of selecting and pairing our breeding stock. In this video, we will explore the tools and techniques that we use to determine our breeding pairs. So let's dive in.
Here's how we select genetics that build our future flock. We start the pipeline by calling for phenotype. Anything with physical defects, poor health, weak parenting skills gets removed. Next, we establish our genetic baseline. We compare this year's ewe lamb flock's EBVs to our adult flock's EBVs to measure real progress. Then, we benchmark with NSIP's percentile report to see where we stand. From that data, we set our trait priorities. Which traits need improvement and which strengths we want to protect. We then use NSIP's Searchable database to find the ram that matches these priorities. We narrow our options by using guardrails, inbreeding coefficients, maturity size, maternal floors, hair coat, and parasite resistance. From this list, we choose the ram that moves our flock forward without creating weakness. Let me show you how we use tools and techniques to identify these animals. Our analysis begins by using a great resource, sheeptools.com, using the compare feature. Now it's time to load the animals. We're going to start with our 2025 ewe lamb flock, and we're going to eliminate the animals that are not going to be part of this year's breeding program. Once all of the animals that are going to be removed have been selected, we're going to go ahead and add them and receive a nice clean list of all the ewe lambs that are part of the program and their respective EBVs. Once we have that list, we're going to export it to Excel for the next step in our process. So we've gone ahead and downloaded our data into an Excel spreadsheet. We have a good feel now for all of our 2025 ewe lambs that we want to breed and their corresponding EBVs. I've also gone ahead, I've averaged their flock EBVs for the ewe lambs and then found on the NSIP website the corresponding percentile report. I've also done the same thing for the adult EBVs to, one, look at how we've progressed from a genetic progress standpoint, but then also to help us make an opinion on what we want for a sire. So here's what's jumping out at me. We've made some nice progress in our growth traits this past year with this ewe lamb crop. A little disappointed that we lost a little bit of maternal weaning weight, but we did see a nice increase in some of our other maternal traits, including our number of lambs born and number of lambs weaned, and then a corresponding increase in our hair index. So what's jumping out at me for this upcoming year? I'm looking at this spread here between number of lambs born and number of lambs weaned to not only increase the hair index, but focusing in on getting this number of lambs weaned into the higher percentile. And I'm also going to be somewhat conscious of our maternal weaning weight because we did lose some ground, although our adult ewes that will be bred this year, that's still a very strong number. So it's going to play a secondary priority to our number of lambs weaned trait, but that gives us a rough idea when we compare what our ewe lamb crop looks like this year with our adult crop and what we need from a sire. So let's go in and jump into the NSIP Searchable database. So we're nearing the end. We've jumped onto the NSIP Searchable database. We've begun a process for looking for rams. I would like to find a ram that has some progeny that might be a little bit older, proven. I think that helps me be confident in their EBVs more than a younger ram. But let's take a look and see what is available out there. As we mentioned, our number one priority is going to be number of lambs weaned. That's where I see the greatest growth potential for our overall flock EBVs, and so I'm going to look for something in the top 10 percentile. I also want to address that issue of this year's ewe lamb crop being a little bit on the lighter side of maternal weaning weights, so I'm going to put in a good, healthy maternal weaning weight there. And then in terms of our weaning weights, I want to maintain that. I don't want to lose any of our size, our growth traits, and so I'm going to keep that at 2.7. And let's take a look and see. And so it is loading, and it's given us about 3 pages worth of options. So the next step then would be to look at each one of these as individuals, look at the flocks, look at the flock branding, the flock program, and find the best match. I hope you found this helpful. This is the process that we use here at the Galena Homestead to move forward our genetics, and I look forward to talking to everybody in the future.